Hi, viewers.
Hi.
Pod people. They're not viewer. You're not viewers. You're pod people. Welcome to our third podcast. We're really excited to have our first guest.
Hello.
This is Mark.
Hi.
Mark is here to join us today. This is just a topic I think that's more fun to have more people to analyze.
So what are we talking about?
So today we're talking about why do you like the TV shows or movies that you like. You ever wonder why you're specifically drawn to a particular genre or a particular kind of show? Like, why does one person like one show while the other person likes the other show? There's so much that you can learn about yourself just by understanding the kind of entertainment that you're drawn to. So,
Mark, what kinds of shows are you drawn to?
I do like going back in history, and I like shows that show battles and stuff like that, like the show Vikings.
yes. So tell me about Vikings. What do you like about it?
So Vikings, let's see. So I find it interesting how people used to live.
Mm-hmm.
I think about them conquering different parts of the world and how things that they did 1,000 years ago, you can find traces of it around today, here and there. I also kind of try and put myself in that place where they were 1,000 years ago. Would I have done this? Would I have conquered this? What kind of weapons would I use? What kind of castle would I have built? How would I have defended myself? I kind of put myself in their shoes a little bit.
So let me ask you a question. Since you brought up Vikings, let's use that show as the example.
Okay.
So when you think about that show, give yourself a minute, picture it. You got it?
I do.
Okay. What character stands out? Who do you see in your vision right now? Which character?
I'm thinking about the leader. What was his name? Lofgren? I don't know.
The leader of the head Viking
Yeah,
of the first
yeah.
one. I can't think of his name either. I know what you mean though.
Okay.
Okay. So that head guy,
Mm-hmm.
what'd you like about him? What was interesting about him? Why do you think he stands out in your head?
Well, I guess for me, I like that he came from nothing and he took over.
Mm-hmm.
I like that he was able to make something of nothing.
You like that he made something of himself.
Yeah, I do. Which, is that off topic? We're going
No,
in a different
that-
direction?
that's exactly topic.
That is
that's
the topic.
That's you. I can work hard. I can make something of myself.
Right.
The conquering thing.
Yeah.
It's such a man thing that you said before. Like they came and they conquered, and it's
Right.
such
Yeah.
a masculine kind of.
And I've been working out also.
It's important.
Yeah, so you like the fact that he was able to make something of himself, but you also like the fact that he made something out of nothing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like these Vikings came in and they just had like barren land. They had nothing, right? You said before they created castles and...
Well, the Vikings seem to have more, according to the show, like they had big forts in places where they lived, and so.
Yeah.
But ultimately, they were explorers. They had built ships, and they were good at shipbuilding.
Yeah.
So they were able to kind of figure out a way. Like he created like a compass, essentially, and he figured out how to travel, circumnavigate part of the world to get to other places, which is just. It's incredible from nothing. Like I'm fascinated by people that the lights go on, and this guy figured out how to sail around the world. You know what I mean? It's wild to me.
Those of you who are watching the video can see the enthusiasm in Mark, right? You can tell by his facial expressions and the way he's moving his hands that this is really fascinating and exciting. Those of you who are listening, Mark is making very excited faces.
Am I?
You're pumped about Vikings.
Yes, and flailing his arms. You just find
So I
it.
look like an idiot.
Flailing.
Is what you're saying.
No, you're
Okay.
excited. You're passionate. It's passionate.
You're really
Okay.
into this.
You're really
Okay.
into it.
Okay.
You're really
Didn't know.
passionate.
I didn't realize how much I liked it.
See how much you're learning from this conversation?
Yeah, this is
right?
great.
So you're really passionate about the idea that somebody can figure something out. And by figuring something out, they're able to conquer new lands and travel to new territories and find new things and accomplish amazing things. And they figured it out themselves, building that compass.
Intelligence. They used, it wasn't Well, they used a lot of brute force in times, but
Yeah.
it wasn't always about that. He actually was the guy that came in and said, let's use our heads. Even though he was a strong guy, he could fight and take over a lot of things, he was trying to use his intelligence, his intellect, as opposed to his strength, which is smart.
So I think what you're saying is that you're really drawn to the idea that you can be a conqueror with your brain. Maybe that's something that resonates for you, right? That I could really accomplish great things because I'm smart.
That's part of it, sure.
I'm still stuck on the fact that I can't remember his name.
I don't even know what show you're talking about, so I'm bringing nothing to the table.
I blame menopause. What's his name? It'll come to me.
Okay.
Vikings.
Nothing.
Vikings Valhalla? Or just Vikings? What was it?
I think that was just Vikings.
There's more than one?
There's a
Lots
whole-
of
there's a
Viking
whole bunch of
shows.
them.
Yeah.
So other people are watching these Viking shows.
Oh, they're very popular. You can't be looking at your phone
Are you
while we're
kidding?
doing a podcast. Are you looking something up on
I'm looking
ChatGPT?
for leader on Vikings.
Oh, I wanted to remember it myself. It's not giving it to you.
Shit.
All right.
It's
Put,
giving me other people. Okay,
put
sorry.
your phone away. Just we're sorry. Mark is rude.
I was trying to move the show along. I'm sorry. Okay. Where
Instead
are we?
of screeching halt while we're looking at ChatGPT.
I think you're avoiding. You don't like what I just said.
What did you say?
You disassociated a little bit there.
About what?
I said.
Wow.
This is turning into therapy for
What
Mark.
did I do?
You said, I said, not you said, I said that you find it really interesting that he was able to conquer with intelligence. So
Okay.
it sounds like it's important to you that a man can be strong by using his brain
Yes, I
and
agree.
being smart and thinking.
So what am I avoiding there?
I said that and you went and looked at your phone.
I was trying to ask what the guy's name was.
That was a while ago.
Oh,
We're
okay.
past that.
Yes, I do agree. Intelligence along with force is something that
You like the
is
strategy.
a great. Those are two great qualities to have if you're looking to take over the world.
Well, it sounds like you like the strategy. You like
Yes.
strategizing, right? Something about that is really exciting and interesting to you.
It is, because you also see a lot of people throughout history and on that show do things that don't make any sense. Also, like they're trying to do this, they're trying to fight this guy. You got 10 guys gonna fight 300 guys. Doesn't really make a lot of sense, but they still pursue that. And you're just kind of like, that's not gonna work out well for you.
Right.
So,
How do you feel when you see that happen?
yeah, that's just like, what are you doing? You gotta figure out a better way.
It's cringy, right?
Yeah.
You worry about them.
That's, I guess, the intelligence part. But that's like, you don't have any intelligence. Like, where does your intelligence start?
Yeah. So intelligence, strategy, figuring things out in order to conquer and be safe and be powerful are things that are important to you.
Mhm.
Did you know that?
I knew that about him.
Did you?
I did.
Interesting.
Did you know that is the question.
I guess it is, yeah. I guess I knew somewhat to a certain degree. I don't think about it, so I have to sit here and think that, do I really? But I guess so, yeah.
So you might have learned a little bit about yourself just now.
Based on the
Maybe-
type of show you try.
Maybe
you
more
enjoy
aware of it, about myself. I'm more cognizant of it. Yes.
All right, win. We won.
You won?
1 point.
Yeah?
All right.
Are you done with me?
No.
Oh,
You're
okay.
gonna contribute to our We're gonna talk about the shows we like.
Okay.
And then I'm going to just share, I had reached out to some viewers, some people, and asked them to share with me some shows that they like and why. So I was going to just offer our viewers some feedback because some of it might resonate for them. You want to go next or me?
We can do me if you want.
All right.
My Hallmark
Let's do
Christmas
that.
movie obsession.
Okay.
Love them.
Yeah.
Absolutely love them.
Yeah.
They all have the same plot.
What's the plot?
They're all the same. It's
Small town?
Yeah, like girl from the big city goes to the small town, like finds the guy in the flannel shirt and
You do like
Has
the
to
flannel
foreclose
shirt
on his bakery.
wearing guy.
yeah, exactly. Like, she's got to shut down his bakery, and she realizes that he's the hot guy she happened to meet in the library, and now she finds him in the bakery, and she doesn't tell him that she's going to close down the bakery, and then, you know, there's always a misunderstanding, and then they always end up coming together in the end.
And then we save the bakery.
They do. They save the bakery, and they end up together. And
This sounds like You've Got Mail. Remember that movie?
yes. But it's literally, it's the same plot for every single Hallmark movie, which
means you like that plot.
It is, and it's an easy watch. Like, you can get up, you can change the laundry, you can take a phone call, you can be putzing around on the phone, not paying attention. You can walk out for 20 minutes, come back, and you didn't miss much because you know exactly what's going to happen.
So do you feel that it's low stress?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm hearing two things here, right? One of it is that it's easy and you don't have to get too emotionally involved. You also don't have to commit to paying attention.
Yes.
You can get other things done. You can multitask.
And you're not getting super frustrated.
Right? And
Yes.
I think the other part is you obviously enjoy something about this theme.
It's adorable.
Do you think that there's something going on, the fact that she ultimately beforehand knows the outcome, so she doesn't have to worry about the outcome?
And I know that it's a happy ending. It's an
That's
adorable,
your
romantic,
outcome.
happy
You know
ending.
they're going to fall in love, they're going to run away, whatever it is, the bakery's going to be safe. So you know that's
You
making
like
you feel, it's going to be
Yeah,
okay,
it's
I
a
don't have to
feel-good.
worry.
Yep, absolutely.
Something in the world I don't have to worry about.
you like that the misunderstanding is resolved and
Yes.
everything's kumbaya at the end.
Yes.
What happens when you watch something that doesn't have a happy ending? What's that like for you?
I guess it's frustrating. I guess I'm disappointed. I guess I want the happy ending.
So do you think that just in general this is a way for you to experience or exercise the act of having the emotions that feel good and avoiding the distress that's uncomfortable for you?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So do you think that it's the theme, or do you think it's just the mere fact that it's a happy ending and you don't have to worry about what's going to happen? And you don't have to feel those feelings that are uncomfortable for you?
I think it's probably both, because Hallmark has movies all year long, but it's just the Christmas movies. It's that whole holiday theme thing that I really get into.
You like that your life is predictable.
Well,
Because those shows are predictable?
let's
Is that
talk about
something-
why it's connected specifically to holidays. Because, like, you know,
Loves
my
them.
dad loves the Hallmark Channel. That's all he watches is the Hallmark Channel.
I can't do it. The other
He won't watch
10
anything, but he's constantly telling me about these movies from the Hallmark Channel, and he'll watch like particular movies over and over and over and over again, and tell me about them over and over, right? But you only like at Christmas time.
Yeah, I can't get through them
So
the
let's
other 10 months.
Figure that out, right? Why do you think it is that you seem to be drawn towards this need for resolving conflict or resolving an issue and having a happy ending and not have to stress about what's going to happen, but only during the holidays?
Because the holidays are a particularly high stress time, and I think there's constant worry, and this just allows me to kind of focus on something else, knowing that it's going to end well.
So it makes you feel good,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's like, okay, there's happy endings to things, and even though things can be a little bit confusing and a little bit stressful and there can be conflict, in the end it works out okay, right? So it sort of sends you a message that you particularly need during that time.
Makes sense.
Yeah. And the rest of the year you're watching SVU.
Yes.
That loves SVU.
I do love cop shows, I do love medical shows, and my boss at work will tell you about my amazing knowledge of things going on in medically just from watching TV.
What do you like about SVU?
I don't know. I mean, it's really dark. I mean, it's sexual deviance.
Do you ever put yourself in any of their places? Like feel like I'm the cop, I'm the criminal, I'm the detective, I'm the lawyer. Do you ever kind of take on that role in your head at all? Like this is what I would do or anything like that?
No,
As
not
a guy,
consciously.
As a man, I guess that's what we're always trying to solve everything.
But I do think too, I mean, to bring up the point about like the happy ending, like it does generally resolve itself in the end. You know, they catch the bad guy goes away. Like it has a resolution to it that ends positively.
Is
most
that
of the
really a
time.
happy ending though?
It is.
It is. Even though someone was raped or murdered or this and that still is collateral
Well,
damage.
I think that's
but
the
they-
reality of
right.
life. I
It
mean, bad
is.
shit's gonna happen, but I
Unfortunately.
think, you can kind of go to bed feeling okay with like, well, at least we put away the guy that did this. He's not gonna do this again to someone else.
It gives you sort of like this sense of control over the bad and evil that's in the world, because we all know it's happening, right? We can't just sweep that under the rug and pretend that there isn't crime, regardless of what kind of crime. So knowing that there's good guys out there that are willing to put their lives at risk and that are willing to fight, right? That good prevails over evil often. Not always, but often enough, right? And this makes you feel safe.
Yeah.
Right, it's interesting because some people would watch that and it would make them feel unsafe because it would bring to light the
These horribly
crimes
sexually based offenses.
that go on, and it's just like, oh my god, that's out there. I need to keep myself in a bubble. I don't want to know about it. But for you, it's like, I know about it, so
I can watch Ice-T fix it.
give me some.
And Mariska Hargitay, who I absolutely adore.
Right, give me the reality of the fact that there are people out there doing something about it that makes me feel better. Right, sense of control.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely don't see happy endings in those shows. I've watched thousands of those also.
But it's interesting that you still watch thousands of them, and
And it's been a
you're
while,
not-
but I have watched them.
You
Up
used
there
to-
on, I'll watch it.
Yeah, I
I'll
used to
it
watch Law and Order
constantly.
all
but,
the time.
But I never viewed it as a happy ending. I think I did view it more as like, wow.
Well,
there's a lot
I
of
mean, again,
crazy
I don't know
shit
that I would
going on.
call it happy ending, but I mean, resolution, I think, is...
Yeah.
The bad guy goes to jail.
Yeah,
Not really.
usually.
There's times that they don't, and so it's also exposing the broken system, how people aren't getting help, mental health, how people slip through the cracks, how there's always that loophole that someone can get off on, stuff like that.
So interesting how you guys are watching the same show and pulling something
different.
different. Isn't that fascinating? Right? Like you'll find what resonates for you, what where your brain is and where your psyche is, and you're leaning more towards where your brain and your psyche is. Can I ask you though, Mark,
Yes, Stacy.
being that you do find it a little bit, I guess, disturbing and unresolved and not happy ending-ish, why do you like it?
I mean, I guess, it's kind of a detective show.
Yeah.
So it's like they're figuring it out. So there's like a puzzle to solve,
We're back to that.
right?
The strategy and the intelligence part.
Right, and then there's also there's the law, right? Which is the order, whereas
The law and the order.
how they figure, which is the
Law and order.
law where they're in
Wow,
court,
they named that right.
right? And they have to. Don't make fun of me.
You didn't
I'll
name
figure
it.
something out. So no, then there's the law aspect of it to where they're using the law, interpreting the law, manipulating the law, getting around the law. So it's more strategy.
You like that?
I think that I don't necessarily like it. I want to learn about it. I want to
drawn to
understand it, and that actually frustrates me. That it's just not straightforward. That's, I think, upsetting to me, to be honest with you. This person did this to this kid, or this person did this to this person, or whatever it is, and that they can just we don't really know if we have to have more evidence. If we do this, it's too, there's always...
You're frustrated.
Yeah,
when you see
it's
that
definitely
part.
frustration.
But it also teaches you just about strategy and how it can work even against you sometimes. It can work for you or against you, but you're definitely drawn to that idea of figuring things out, using strategy to conquer and get away with things, even if it's the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
You still find it interesting.
Yeah. Right, that's where my brain is working, and hers
Which
is
is
working.
kind of different, that your takeaway from this show
Yeah.
is so different than mine.
Right. You have it seems like a more positive outlook. And what's my outlook?
What is your outlook?
See, I knew you were going to say that.
I can't help
See,
myself.
I can predict what you're going to say sometimes.
That's what happens when you live with a therapist.
What is my outlook on that show?
Just what's your outlook?
Oh, just in general?
Yeah, like you just asked yourself a question.
Right.
Why is that important to you? That outlook of needing to strategize and figure things out. Why is that so important to you?
Yeah, because I just feel like the world is always throwing something else at you.
But if you look at like you as a person, as a businessman, as someone who's, started businesses and, you're looking at it from, as an opportunity and trying to learn from it and grow and versus, looking at it as a social worker and kind of recognizing the deviance in people and hoping that there is some kind of help or resolution or something to it. I mean, we're just taking two different pieces of it, just who you are versus who I am.
Mm-hmm. So what's the question?
There is no question. It's just an observation.
You said
Your outlook is different as a
Yes.
businessman versus a social worker.
you're saying
I'm thinking about it in terms of navigation, right? How do I start my day and get through this? And I got a letter in the mail, and I got to talk to my accountant, and I got to do this, and I got to maneuver through the world every single day.
Yeah.
That's how I'm thinking about
and
it.
you said the world is always throwing something at me, and so I think you feel safer and more empowered if you know that you can build a compass and find America, or maybe another place at the moment.
Yeah, I guess have a little bit more.
Anywhere else.
Have some control. Right. It's about control, I guess.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's about control. So I don't watch Law and Order or SVU because I'm the person who's like, I know it's out there, but if I think about it, I'm not letting my kids leave the house. So it's probably best that I don't watch those shows. So
And
I
what's
just
even
avoid it
weirder
altogether.
too is that my daughter was raised watching it. Like, has seen all 25 years of episodes and knows all of them.
yeah.
Like, has seen them from entirely too young an age.
So
But
she's prepared.
yeah.
So what shows do you like?
I like historical fiction.
Like?
I like Vikings, Outlander.
So why don't we go back to Vikings? Why do you like Vikings? See if it's different from what I
It's
like.
not about creating a compass.
Right. Yeah.
No.
What is it
I like
about?
seeing how much the world has changed, how far we've come. It helps me to restore my faith in humanity,
That we will continue to move forward.
that we will continue to move forward. Yes, because sometimes the world is disappointing and sometimes people are disappointing. I think there's so many amazing and wonderful people in the world, but there are some things that are scary and frustrating sometimes. And I think that when I go back and I look at how things were versus how things are, it somehow soothes me a little bit because it's like, okay, we do keep evolving, we do keep growing, we do keep going forward. I also find it fascinating to see what we've been through, just as a mankind altogether, not as Americans, just as humans, what we've endured and what we've been able to get through and handle. I like looking at different eras in time and seeing how people responded to things, how people dealt with things, how people, what people learned from things, and to kind of really take that information in, and it helped. It's what I do, and I guess I went into this field to be a mental health professional because I was always fascinated by it. I always, from a very young age, wanted to understand why do people do that. That's always been a really important question to me. I think I felt safer and more empowered myself if I really just understood the world through the lens of why do I feel that way, why do others feel that way, why do I act this way, why do others act this way. And what I do find fascinating also is when we talk about things like generational trauma, when I look at people as a whole today and I understand where we've come from, it also helps me to understand some of human behavior today, because I think sometimes we act and react in situations that don't even make sense for us today, but it could be generational, right? What our ancestors went through, that plays a role in our own responses, our own fight or flight to things. It's also fascinating
So
to me.
you're watching TV therapeutically.
Yes.
So you're doing an analysis.
Not on purpose, it's just how my brain
Right.
works.
But so you're watching TV and with an analysis going on simultaneously.
Constantly.
What's amazing though is, one of the first things you said was that, people will disappoint you and the world is scary. And the first thing I'm thinking of, You know who won't disappoint you? The guy in the flannel. And you know where isn't scary is this fantasy small town where it snows and you cut your own fucking tree down. Like, that's not a scary world. Your bakery might get shut down, but it doesn't in the end.
Go
But,
find
like,
a little cabin in the woods with the one guy who just like saves the day.
Yeah.
And you're all right.
Like, that world is not scary. So it's interesting that you're not, in that place of just kind of, ignoring the SVU out there and watching the happy Hallmark movies where the world isn't scary
I can't watch that.
and things are predictable.
I can't watch it. I'm bored when I watch it. Because you know what, for me,
You haven't seen the right ones.
maybe.
Those are on after
Send me
11 o'clock.
Exactly.
Send me one. I think when I watch it, I think it doesn't serve a purpose for me, because I guess for me, I'm just like in the back of my brain, I'm saying to myself, like, I don't know how real is that? Is that real? Like, are we just avoiding and ignoring? And what's interesting is, I'd rather watch the insanity that was going on in the year 1000 than the insanity that's going on in the world today. So
Zero
I
interest
can
in
watch Vikings. I can literally watch some fucking 7-foot tall man with an axe chop another guy's head off and be totally unaffected by it. But if you put on SVU and I watch a current scenario that could happen tomorrow.
Yeah, like a rip from the headlines, like spin on what actually
Because
is
that's
happening.
real reality.
Right.
It could actually happen.
Right.
No,
This is the past. We're doing better than that.
But are we?
I mean,
so
it's not legal to chop someone's head off with an axe. So we've come that far. Also, the whole women's rights thing, to see how women were treated back then and to see how we're treated now. I think there's something about that really resonates.
do you
for me.
feel like we should have come further with how we treat women by now?
That would be nice.
It would be nice, but do you feel like why is it taking so long? Is it just men have not, their brains are not evolved enough? What is it going on there?
I don't think it's about evolution.
What is it?
I think it's just
Power?
fear, not wanting things to change. Right? I'm in a position of power and, I'm, safe. And so if I give somebody else some power, will that take some of my power away? What will that look like for me? How will that feel? You also have to look at it. I mean, it's thousands and thousands of years of society, having certain gender roles and viewing things a certain way. And we have changed tremendously over the years. Tremendously. I mean, there's an enormous amount of shift and growth if you look at what went on.
Even 100 years ago, I mean, women couldn't vote, women weren't working, women weren't legally allowed to do so many things.
I mean, 50 years ago, when I was born, in 1974, women just got permission to be able to get a credit card without their husband's permission. They were able to get a credit card in their name or get a mortgage in that name, and that was literally 50 years ago.
How did my mother get a credit card without a husband?
She probably didn't. When you were born, she did. Ask her.
I will.
Yeah, so that's a whole
That's
other
insane.
topic.
Yeah.
We can have a whole conversation about women's rights, but that's why I find those shows fascinating, I think, because believe it or not, as disturbing as some of those shows are, it makes me feel better about today.
So what about people that are obsessed with crime documentaries?
I think it's probably similar to the SVU thing in a sense where it's like we can figure those people out and it gives us some sort of an edge or control. But if I think about patients I've had over the years that were obsessed with crime documentaries, I think what I heard coming from them was wanting to understand the mindset of the sociopath, right? I want to understand why the serial killer goes out and decides, I'm going to kill all the nurses, right? I'm going to kill all the men who wear black t-shirts, right? Why do they do that? And I think that there's some sense of power and control, again, over the information. If I know and I understand it, maybe I can have some control over it and keep myself safe from it, right? Information and power is power. Knowledge is power. What do you think? What are your thoughts about it?
I was asking.
You're just really genuinely curious.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you think about the people that are obsessed with the reality shows, or even like
Yes.
all of those Bravo shows. Those,
It's on Bravo.
I don't know. There's like boat
Dressing
people on a
up shows.
boat.
and
No,
stuff
but there's
that.
like all of these like down under like anchor,
Oh,
like those shows, and
yes.
the Real Housewives.
Yeah.
All of the Real Housewives shows are insanely popular.
I think reality shows in general, people really enjoy sitting down and watching somebody else's life. And I think if you're watching fiction, right, if you're watching Friends, and we know that it's just a bunch of actors and actresses and they're depicting, you know, a person that isn't real. Rachel's not real. Monica's not real. Chandler's not real. Oh,
Chandler's not real.
All right. Anyway, I'm sorry I went there. That's sad. Moment of silence for Chandler. Anyway, we know that they're not real. But when you watch a reality show, even though we know it's staged, we can forget the fact that it's a little bit staged and we're like, this is a real person. This person really exists. And there's real turmoil going on here. They have thoughts, they have feelings. And I think that there's definitely something about the experience of watching somebody
It's
else's
like a
life.
voyeuristic kind of thing, though. Like you're watching this from the outside and watching, you know, someone's real life going on.
But do people reflect it to themselves? Are they like, this person, oh, they're Real Housewives, so they're all rich people, right? Is usually what it is, right? So, but, oh, so they're rich, but they're crazy. You know what I'm saying?
But they
Even
have
like, they don't
problems.
have it so good.
They have
And
problems
they don't have
too.
it as good as we think they do.
They have problems
Right.
too. They also have anxiety. They also have depression. They also have boyfriends break up with them and husbands divorce them and girlfriends.
Substance use disorder.
Yeah. Substance use disorder, a girlfriend that will stab them in the back, rejection, fear, all of it, right? I think that that's the reason why blogging picked up probably 10 or 15 years ago and vlogging as being something that was extremely popular. People really enjoy seeing into somebody else's real life because it normalizes their own life. It normalizes their feelings, their turmoils, their doubts, their fears, their chaos. I'm not the only one who has chaos. Look, that famous person, she has chaos too. But that really cool guy, he has chaos too. I'm not the only one. So I think, I am not a reality show watcher at all, so I can't speak to my own personal experience, but that's my educated guess. Do you watch any reality shows?
No.
Why do you think it is that we don't like reality shows?
I feel like reality shows, to a certain degree, they're real, but they're also fake. Like, it's like they know the camera's on. They know that they have to be, you know, say crazy things and be shocking and all these things. It's almost like watching wrestling.
You know it's staged.
It's real. They're really there. They're really jumping off the things. And
It's
sounds like to a
realer,
certain degree.
though, than watching Friends.
No, it is.
Right?
It is.
It's realer. They're real people, and there is real feelings and emotions, and there's real situations happening. I think, you know, and this is not something I've ever thought about before. I've never really asked myself, why don't I like reality shows? I've just asked myself for the first time, and you're experiencing it with me. I think the reason I don't like reality shows is because I already know. I'm a therapist. I work with people. I've been working with people for 30 years. I already know that this shit's real. I don't need to see it on a reality. It does nothing for me. I'm not looking for validation that chaos can be real. I'm not looking for validation that fear, anxiety, stress, and pain or rejection. I'm not looking for proof that these things are real so that I can have that same boat phenomenon experience of, oh, look, her
They're
too.
like me, yep.
They're like me, because I already know that just from what I do professionally. What do you think? Why do you think you don't like reality, or you're not drawn to reality shows?
I guess I might be if there were someone where I feel like I could relate to. Like the Real Housewives are a completely different tax bracket and a completely different reality. So yes, I'm sure I could find commonalities and like, oh, they struggle with depression. Oh, they have problems with their kid or whatever. I mean, I think it's something I feel like I can't connect to. I mean, I think if there were like a Real Housewives of middle class Nassau County, maybe I would be interested in watching that. Maybe I would watch that, but I feel like some of the other ones are just so
Not
ridiculous.
relatable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although I did watch Jersey Shore back in the day.
What'd you like about it?
It was so ridiculous.
You liked that it was ridiculous.
I did. It was like so comical. Like they were such insane characters. It was like funny to kind of watch the train wreck that you knew was inevitably coming.
Is that what that chick was on it? Or
Snooki, and- yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never watched it, but I remember hearing about it. Yeah.
I think I also watched it too. It was like one of the shows that my husband and I could agree on. So it was like our time together. We would sit down, Thursday night and watch it. So I think, it was kind of an activity to do together too, to like sit down and make fun of them.
John likes Snooki.
No, John, we just enjoyed the whole shit show of it.
Do you feel like the news is now the ultimate reality show? Like just every day there's just insanity going on everywhere. There's wars, there's people saying crazy things. This is stolen, that's stolen, this is not real, that's fake. Just everywhere you turn, it's just...
You enjoy watching
It's like, imagine the people from Jersey Shore were running the world, were running the country and everything. It's like, that's what's going on. That's what it feels like is going on.
All right,
Like,
so
and no one tells the truth about anything.
here's a good point. You and I enjoy watching the news. We're torturing ourselves,
It's torture.
but we watch it a lot.
I do not watch
We
the
watch
news.
it a
I
lot.
try not to, but I'm like, what the hell else?
I know why I'm watching it. Why do you think you're watching it so much?
I want to know what's going on, but I mean, I guess if you asked me like a month ago, it would be different. Because like right now, I want to give up on watching the news. I just don't want
probably
it
gonna
filling
take-
my brain anymore.
We're
I'm
probably
just
going to take a break from it for a
I'm,
little
ex-
while.
I'm
But
physically and mentally exhausted from watching the news. I'm falling asleep on my.
it's
can't take it anymore.
abusive. We're in an abusive relationship with the news.
It's really crazy.
Yeah. So why do you think you like watching? It's because, like you said, you feel like you want to know what's going. Why do you think it's important to know
Well,
what's
you know
going
what it
on?
is? I think that the news has turned the news into entertainment, and just every channel you put on is a panel of people giving an opinion. So it's not the news anymore. It's how you spin and interpret the news is what's the news.
It's opinions. A lot
Right,
of
so
opinions.
it's
it is
That
facts.
came up on our Menendez podcast
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, it is a lot.
That the news back then was very much news. It was
They'll share a
Right.
fact. They still, it depends on what channel you're watching, and I'm not going to judge, but they'll share facts, but then they'll talk for an hour about their opinion about that fact. And then the next anchor comes on and they'll talk about their opinion about that fact. And then the next anchor
Right,
comes
and then
on
it
and they talk
also
about
is-
their opinion about that fact.
and if you change the channel, it's a completely different spin.
Different
about that
opinions
fact.
about the same facts.
And it used to be that politicians would just evade questions and not give answers. And now you have all these guests on all of these shows,
Yeah.
and you're asking these people questions, and they won't give you a real answer. So it's just kind of like, hold on, honey, I'm watching the show that everyone's going to lie to me for 30 minutes and kind of give me a bullshit answer and really not tell me the truth about anything, and I won't know anything more in 30 minutes, but we'll eat dinner in 30 minutes.
But
So
we
it's
keep-
like,
But
what am
you'll
I
sit,
even getting
the
out
two
of
of you
this?
will sit there and watch it
And
anyway.
what am I really? So I'm like,
Hours.
it's like it's like sugar. They've addicted us to the news.
What are you getting out of it?
I don't know. I'm getting pissed. I'm getting mad right now. I'm getting pissed.
See, for me, it's, again, brings me back to why I like watching the Vikings. I'm a little bit disturbed with some of the things that are going on. We don't have to get into what. That's a whole different podcast. It's a little bit scary for me. I feel like, I don't want to see the world go backwards in any sort of way. I want to see us continue to progress. I want to see us be kind to each other. I want to see us be okay. I want us to be okay. And I think I keep tuning back in,
Hoping to find that.
looking for
Little
some
snippets
sort
of
of
that.
sign or resolution that we're going to be all right. Like, I want to see that the people in charge understand the things that I'm concerned about and that they're doing something about it. I'm looking for evidence that we're going to be okay.
So I have a similar thought. So like I'm thinking about why am I turning on the news? Well, there's these people, all these people on the panel, and there's certain people that I don't agree with, and I just completely feel that they're lying and they're just evading and everything else. And every night I'm like, maybe tonight will be the night that this person actually tells the truth. And I'm tuning in to be like, maybe they'll get him. Maybe they'll really corner this guy and ask him some question that is going to be like, they have no choice but to tell the truth. And then they figure a way out of being trapped.
You just made me realize something about myself when you said that.
What's that?
I realized that I like that certain news channels will have on the other side. Right? And so it's not just me hearing the side that I like and the side that I agree with. They always regularly have people with the other opinion from the other side. And I like hearing it because I really want to understand the other side. And I'm just looking for
Them to be real and human.
the aha moment
Yeah.
for, all right, I understand why. Because I think it will make me feel better about the others in society, the others in my life that do have the other opinion, because I really want to understand it. I want to understand where it's coming from. And so I think for me, it's just about knowing and understanding. And I think that gives me a
But
better
do you ever
sense
get
of
that resolution? Do you ever does that other person on the other side on the show that you're watching, do you ever get that resolution from that person?
I think that there are some people that do have some. I mean, that one particular person that you and I are both thinking of,
I'm sure it
who's
is.
on every night, and I'm going to punch him in the face. No offense, but he's so frustrating. Not him, no, because he's that politician guy who just like evades questions and avoids questions. And if you ask him about the candidate he likes, he will answer with what he doesn't like about the other candidate and just completely avoid the question. So not him. But there are definitely other people that they have on that aren't necessarily regulars, where I say, all right, so this is the other side. Even if I disagree with it, I want to know it. I want to understand
your
it.
desire to understand
I want to
the way
understand
people
it.
think.
Yes, because I feel safer if I understand people. And I feel like as a society, we can only evolve if we understand other people. You can't just hate everyone you disagree with. Even if they frustrate you, even if you disagree with them, we have to understand each other. And so that's, I think, why I'm so drawn to the news, right? Even though it frustrates me sometimes, or it like leaves me feeling like,
I know, I feel like I have to detox from it. I really do.
I think we probably should
I
right now.
really feel like I can't hear more.
It's Hallmark Christmas movie season. I can bring you to my side.
Yeah, I mean, that really is an escape. It's really like, I'm going to go get a massage and sit in the hot tub for an hour and a half and just kind of unplug.
Yep.
You don't have to worry about anything. for an
Yep,
hour
it's
and
a
half.
feel-good.
We put on a mindless love romance movie last night.
Did you fall asleep?
I think we were bored.
Yeah.
It was so understimulating. And it was just like a feel-good, pointless, like two people meet and fall in love. I don't even remember the name of it. What was it called?
Lost Planet.
It was with Laura Dern and one of the Helmsworth.
Liam
Liam.
Hemsworth.
Yeah. Just like a mindless little love story. I was bored. I was totally understimulated by it because I guess, although it was a nice story, like nothing offensive, it was fine. It didn't do anything for me. It didn't press any of my buttons, and it didn't.
We just wonder, I wonder, where do they get the budgets for the same show over and over and over again? Everyone, who's watching these things? I guess you are.
No, but there's
You're in their marketing.
I am their target
materials.
audience, but like people.
Heather's not watching. What do we got to do?
No, I mean it's amazing to me too. I mean, you look online and like there are people that have these like, this is my Hallmark Christmas watching movie.
Oh,
like
it's
there's
super
a
popular.
whole thing.
It's
yeah.
not just you.
No, it's not just me.
No.
But I guess the other 10 months I'm watching
Are you
Dexter and
nervous?
serial killers. Nope, I'm just trying to.
Why do you like
find
Dexter?
something.
So like she can't watch Dexter.
I know.
Because she says that serial killers are real and they're really out there and she's terrified of them. So she knows that they're real. Why do you watch it?
To me, that's fascinating. Like that and to know the whole thing, like he was like killing bad people. So
Yeah.
it was sort of,
Justified.
vindication. Yeah. But I mean, just the way his mind works and trying to like tracking them and killing them and the meticulousness of it was just
Strategy.
Yeah.
The
Back to you.
strategy
So
there.
do you watch Dexter?
I did. I loved Dexter.
see?
It was one of my.
Okay.
I watched it years ago. It was one of my favorites.
I can't even be in the house when he's watching Dexter because if I accidentally walk into the room, it's going to be a problem. I can't.
Oh,
I
loved
can't do
it.
serial killers, and I can't do mob movies because they're sociopaths.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that he got the criminal. They got to evade going to court, evade the justice system that was bullshit, right? And go right to like, you did this, you fucked up.
We're gonna bring you in my plastic
and it wasn't,
room and kill
and
you.
it wasn't a
Dismember you.
What you did wasn't a mistake. You intended to do this, and now you're gonna pay the piper.
But the guy who was on Dexter was on 6 Feet Under, which is another one of my favorite shows, which was really so fascinating to me. It was, it always started with like someone dying in like a weird and unusual, or I mean sometimes not unusual way, but it was, this funeral home family and their lives and how their lives kind of, were impacted like with what they were doing and seeing on a regular basis. And how that kind of like fucked them up, like dealing with death and sadness and all of that.
You know what I think it is about like Dexter? I can't watch Dexter. I don't think it's the serial killer thing with Dexter. I can't watch Dexter for the same reason I can't watch the Joker.
Because you feel like someone was let down?
I feel bad for them. I feel like because of trauma, maybe this is why I don't like watching sociopaths. I feel like society let them down in some sort of a way. They weren't born like this. Something happened that traumatized them, that turned them into, a monster, so to speak, a bad person.
It's super interesting that you say that, because what is coming out now is like the prequel to Dexter, where Christian Slater is Dexter's father, and there's like young Dexter, and you're going to see exactly
The trauma.
how he was, traumatized and trained, how he became this. I mean, he was literally born,
He was put in like a container, and there was blood in there or something.
his mother was killed in front of him, and he
Yeah.
sat in this bathroom with his like bleeding out dead mother for
Yeah.
like days and days and days. I mean, even as an infant with like no real understanding of it, it's still, fucks with your brain development to, to the point where you become a sociopathic killer. But his
Yeah.
father at least trains him to become the sociopathic killer who at least kills bad people. If you're going to do it for the right reason.
I think that hurts my heart. Like, it's just like, I know that just situations, experiences can have such an impact on your brain and your development and who you are and become, that it is so, I just feel so sad and unfair for some people. And I just think that, like, for me, it makes me too sad. I can't watch it. It's frustrating and sad to me. And so if I watch like the Joker, like I will not, like you've asked me to watch that movie like dozens of times, and I'm like, I will not, because I just know I'm going to be thinking about it for like the next 6 months. I'm going to feel bad for him, even though he's not a real person.
Well, it's sad because society let him down.
Yes.
The system let him down. And then society, the system, and the people all mocked him and made fun of him. And it's just like, hey, I went to you for help, and now you're going to make fun of me because I turned out the way that you guys didn't give me your hand.
Yeah.
You just let me down.
Yeah.
And now I'm who I am. Now you don't like it.
Yeah, so I guess I avoid watching it because I want to avoid the feelings it gives me, right? Just that some people are just dealt such a shitty deck, and they have such a hard life now because of the deck that they didn't ask for, right? Their family could fail them, the system could fail them. Just traumatic events that happen outside of their control that now just ruins the rest of their lives, and it's just so sad to me. So that's why I won't watch Dexter or the Joker.
But you do like Friends.
I really like Friends. Although I really can't watch it anymore because of Chandler. Ever since Matthew Perry's death, every time I watch Friends, I just fixate on the fact that he died. It ruined it for me for now. Maybe one day I could watch it again, but yeah. And why Friends, right? Because that's mindless,
Yes.
right? It doesn't fit into any of the things that resonate for me. I'm not really utilizing my brain power, but I just find it so funny.
I think it's also, it's old, and it kind of brings us back to a different
Yeah,
time
it's
in our
nostalgic.
lives too. We were a little bit younger than them at the, we were in our early 20s, they were like older 20s, and it's like, oh, they're living in the city, they're like getting their first jobs, like we were at that place, and like, it was fun and it was popular and
The
it was-
situations resonated, I guess, and the humor resonated, right? So it was, it's just enjoyable to watch. And so I like watching it because it's familiar and easy and funny.
Mhm.
You like Friends?
I do.
Who doesn't like Friends? Psychopaths. Psychopaths don't like Friends.
That's
People watching Dexter.
Good way to catch bad people.
Right.
They just fill out a form.
Did you watch Friends?
No, I hate
Okay.
it.
You're in a certain demographic if you didn't watch Friends.
You're gonna go
there's
in
an
that room.
issue.
We're gonna talk to you for
That
a
should be
while.
what you ask somebody when you go on a dating site. Do you like Friends? I can't go out with you.
So are we done? I mean, we could spend hours on this. There's so many
I think
other
we killed it.
genres of
You did a
TV,
good job,
but
yeah.
I think Stacy has given us a lot of insight as to why we choose the shows that we choose.
Mm-hmm.
And how we connect to them.
Mm-hmm. Right? So for our viewers out there, for
And
our
listeners,
our pod people, think about it. Think about what you like to watch, what really resonates for you, what you're drawn to, and ask yourself a question you might not have ever asked yourself. Why do I like this? What do I like about it? And I would love to hear from you guys. Just put it in the comments if you want. Some new insights, because I think it's really an interesting conversation to open up.
Did you feel stressed listening to this podcast? Or
Did something come up for you? I'd love to hear if you want to share. No
were you
pressure.
able to relax?
Did your husband wear flannels?
no. My husband wears Under Armour.
Oh no.
Strictly Under Armour.
I think this can become a tone of you guys shit on John in every episode.
No,
Is that
we
Oh
don't.
my
what it is?
God, Lara, please make sure you edit that. We can't have that.
You don't shit on John.
Well, I remember in one episode, you guys didn't you say something?
I might have said what he did, kind of.
But then we talked about how smart he is.
Yes.
So you
Yeah.
kind of fixed it.
It's a good thing he doesn't listen or watch because he doesn't know that you might have called him an idiot.
I think that
But
would
it was in the context of sending me a clip of something without the whole picture.
Gotcha.
Maybe we should buy John flannel for Christmas.
He has a flannel. We did have flannel. We have a theme every year for Christmas, and one year was flannel shirts. So he begrudgingly put one on one year.
Aw, that was
Maybe
nice of him.
He'll
See, he's a good guy.
bake you something this Christmas wearing the flannel.
Yeah.
No?
He'd more likely to cut down a tree than to,
All right, so
go in the
that's-
bakery.
I'm just saying cook a cookie.
I think that guys who cut trees down usually do wear flannels.
Yes.
It's just the image I have in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What's his name?
The brawny guy
Yeah.
on the paper towels.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Well done.
We're done.
Okay.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.